High above the Amazon rainforest, a plane soared through the sky. The dense canopy below stretched endlessly, a sea of green that seemed to go on forever. The hum of the engines was a comforting sound to the passengers, a reminder of the marvels of modern aviation. It was Christmas Eve, 1971. The festive spirit was palpable, even in the remote reaches of the Amazon. Passengers exchanged smiles and holiday greetings, their minds filled with thoughts of family reunions and joyous celebrations. 17-year-old Juliane Koepcke sat beside her mother, their hearts filled with holiday cheer. They chatted excitedly about the upcoming reunion with Juliane's father, sharing stories and laughter. The bond between mother and daughter was evident, a testament to their close relationship. They were on their way to see Juliane's father, a renowned biologist working deep in the jungle. His research was groundbreaking, focusing on the rich biodiversity of the Amazon. Juliane admired her father's dedication and was eager to spend time with him, exploring the wonders of the rainforest. Little did they know, fate had a different plan for them, a terrifying ordeal that would test the very limits of human endurance. The sky, once clear and bright, began to darken ominously. The first signs of trouble were subtle, a slight turbulence that soon escalated. As darkness enveloped the sky, a fierce storm gathered. The clouds swirled menacingly, and the wind howled through the trees below. The once serene atmosphere inside the plane grew tense as passengers sensed the impending danger. Lightning flashed, illuminating the plane's windows with an eerie glow. Each bolt of lightning seemed to bring the storm closer, the flashes of light revealing the sheer power of nature. The plane shuddered with each clap of thunder, a stark contrast to the earlier calm. Suddenly, a deafening roar ripped through the air as the plane was buffeted by violent turbulence. The aircraft lurched and dipped, the passengers gripping their armrests in fear. The once steady flight had turned into a nightmare, the plane at the mercy of the storm. Panic surged among the passengers as the aircraft shook violently, its once steady wings now flapping like a wounded bird. The cabin was filled with cries of fear and the sound of luggage tumbling from overhead compartments. In that moment, the festive spirit was replaced by sheer terror as everyone on board braced for the unknown. Amidst the chaos, Juliane clung desperately to her seat. Then, with a horrifying lurch, the plane ripped apart. Still strapped to her seat, she was flung into the night sky, tumbling helplessly towards the unforgiving jungle below. The last thing she remembered was the deafening roar of the wind and the sight of the rainforest canopy rushing towards her. The impact, when it came, was brutal. Juliane crashed through the dense foliage, branches snapping against her body. She lay there, dazed and disoriented, her world reduced to pain and the sounds of the jungle. Miraculously, she was alive, but she was alone, injured, and stranded in the heart of the Amazon, a vast and unforgiving wilderness. As the shock wore off, Juliane took stock of her injuries. She was alone, surrounded by the dense, unforgiving jungle. The crash had left her disoriented, but she knew she had to assess her condition to survive. Her collarbone throbbed with pain, and she had deep cuts on her arms and legs. The wounds were raw and stung with every movement, but she couldn't afford to dwell on the pain. Survival was her priority, but she was alive, and that thought fueled a spark of hope within her. The jungle was vast and intimidating, but Juliane knew that hope was her most valuable asset. She had to cling to it, no matter how dire the situation seemed. She knew she had to get up, to move, to survive. Lying there would only make her more vulnerable to the dangers lurking in the jungle. With every ounce of strength she could muster, she pushed herself to her feet. This was a test of her will, a fight for her life against all odds. The dense foliage and treacherous terrain were relentless, but Juliane was determined. Each step was a battle, but she knew she couldn't stop. Panic threatened to engulf her, but Juliane remembered her father's words, words that would guide her in the days to come. He had always taught her to stay calm and think clearly, even in the most desperate situations. If you're ever lost in the jungle, follow the water, he had said. Water sources were not only vital for hydration, but also a natural guide to civilization. Streams and rivers often led to human settlements. It will eventually lead you to civilization. These words echoed in her mind, providing a glimmer of direction in the overwhelming green abyss. She knew that finding water was her best chance of survival. Clinging to these words like a lifeline, Juliane began her perilous journey. Each step was a testament to her resilience and determination. The jungle was vast and full of unknowns, but she was ready to face whatever came her way. The rainforest was a labyrinth of towering trees, tangled vines, and hidden dangers. Juliane, weakened by her injuries and hunger gnawing at her stomach, pressed on. She had only a small bag of candy she had found, her sole source of sustenance in this green abyss. Days turned into nights, and still, Juliane kept moving. The jungle, once a place of beauty and wonder, was now her prison, its every sound a reminder of her isolation. But she refused to give up. She drew strength from the memory of her family, their faces fueling her determination to survive. Section 5. Nature's Guidance. Juliane followed the sound of a small stream, its gurgling waters a beacon of hope in the oppressive silence of the rainforest. She remembered her father's lessons about edible plants, carefully selecting only those she recognized. The jungle, once her enemy, was now providing her with the sustenance she needed to survive. One day, she spotted a group of vultures circling in the distance. She remembered her father explaining how vultures were drawn to carrion, a sign of death, but also a potential sign of life nearby. With renewed determination, she followed the birds, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. Section 6. A Glimmer of Hope. The vultures led her to a clearing, and there on the banks of a wider river lay a small boat. It was a sight that brought a mix of emotions to Juliane's heart. The boat, though weathered and old, represented a glimmer of hope in the vast, unforgiving jungle. She had been wandering for days, her body battered and bruised, her spirit teetering on the edge of despair. Juliane's heart soared with hope. The sight of the boat was like a beacon, a sign that she might finally find a way out of this green labyrinth. She had survived a plane crash, trekked through the dense foliage, and faced the dangers of the wild. This boat could be her salvation. This could be her salvation, her ticket out of this green hell. She imagined herself drifting down the river away from the perils of the jungle towards civilization and safety. The thought filled her with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. But her joy was short-lived. As she approached the boat, she noticed its dilapidated state. The wood was rotting, and the boat seemed barely seaworthy. Her initial excitement gave way to concern and doubt. Could this fragile vessel really carry her to safety? The boat was old and battered, tied loosely to a tree, and there was no sign of life nearby. It looked as though it had been abandoned for years, left to decay in the relentless humidity of the rainforest. Juliane's heart sank as she realized the enormity of her predicament. Disappointment threatened to overwhelm her, but Juliane rallied. She couldn't afford to give in to despair. She had come too far, endured too much to let this setback defeat her. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges ahead. She had come too far to give up now. The jungle had tested her in ways she had never imagined, but it had also revealed a strength within her that she hadn't known she possessed. She was determined to survive, no matter what it took. She cleaned her wounds as best she could, using gasoline from the boat's engine to ward off infection. It was a painful process, but necessary. She couldn't afford to let an infection slow her down. Every moment was precious, and she needed to stay as healthy as possible. Then she settled down to wait, her eyes scanning the river, praying for a miracle. She knew that her chances of being found were slim, but she held on to hope. The jungle had taken so much from her, but it hadn't taken her will to survive. As she watched the river, she whispered a silent prayer, hoping that someone, somewhere, would come to her rescue. Section 7. Rescue from the river. For 3 long days and nights, Juliane waited by the river. Hunger gnawed at her stomach, and her injuries throbbed with pain. Just when her hope began to dwindle, she heard the distant drone of a motor. A group of local fishermen, making their way down the river, spotted her frantically waving from the bank. They cautiously approached, their faces etched with concern as they saw the state of the young woman before them. Juliane, her voice hoarse from exhaustion and dehydration, told them her story. The fishermen, moved by her ordeal, gently lifted her into their boat and promised to take her to safety. Section 8. A Story for the Ages. News of Juliane's miraculous survival spread like wildfire, captivating the world. She had endured 10 grueling days in the Amazon, surviving a plane crash, battling injuries, hunger, and the relentless jungle itself. Her story became a testament to the indomitable spirit of human beings, their ability to overcome even the most daunting obstacles. Juliane's story transcended the realm of mere survival. It became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times the human spirit can endure. Her experience, though terrifying, highlighted the importance of knowledge, resilience, and above all, the will to live. Section 9. The Indomitable Spirit. Looking back, Juliane's tale is not just a story of survival, but a testament to the power of the human spirit. She faced her fears head-on, armed with the knowledge her father had imparted and an unwavering determination to live. Her story reminds us that even when faced with insurmountable odds, hope flickers within us, urging us to fight, to endure, to survive. So the next time you find yourself facing a challenge, remember Juliane Koepcke. Remember her courage, her resilience, her refusal to give up. Let her story inspire you to dig deep, to find the strength within yourself, and to never ever give up hope.